Hey everybody, how's it going? Well, getting moved into the new studio here, a little exhausted after a few days of moving and everything. But hey, I tell you what, here's just a quick time lapse of where the movers dropped everything off and then me just kind of trying to rough stuff out. So let's take a quick look at that. And about right there is where you see me pull out a flashlight because I had a absolutely critical failure of my desk. Now I've loved this desk a whole lot, but the weak point has always been the legs. And sure enough, whether it, I don't think it was damage in the move. I think it was just kind of the last straw of how many times this desk has been moved around. And one of the legs basically broke. All the screws are stripped that are holding it in. So I've got the desk, standing, and there's a few things on it, but I'm kind of afraid to touch it. So I'm just going to kind of leave it where it is for now and look into some ways to either repair it or replace it. I mean, I love that desk. It's really perfect for me in this room, but I can't have something that's going to risk falling over with thousands of dollars of equipment in it or anything. So I also took a couple of kind of panning shots around the room. So here, let's take a look at like before. Here's kind of a slow pan of the before, right where everything was dropped off. And then I did kind of a quick pan of after, and after, like, I haven't, as soon as the desk broke, I kind of got paralyzed. I'm not exactly sure where to go, and here I'm gonna pull up a chair because I'm exhausted. Just standing, not too much fun. Actually holding my arm up to hold the camera is not all that much fun either, but I really wanted to kind of make this like a vlog of the whole kind of process, but honestly the process has been so exhausting and so frustrating that I don't really know what I can do. So the state that I'm in right now is I've got a room. I like the room. It's much bigger than what I had in my previous room. It's got some shortcomings and everything, but things that I can work through. Honestly, I kind of came in kind of cocky into this one because when I moved into my last room, it was just so radically different than what I had been used to, and I'll link to that video, the moving day video from a couple of years ago. You can just kind of see in that video, like I'm a little overwhelmed about, what am I gonna do? This room is so different. I don't know what I'm gonna do. How am I gonna make this work? And that's kind of where I'm at right now too. I'll persevere. I'll get it. It'll work. I'll make it work. But there are just some things that I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna do about yet. Kind of the primary thing is that our house backs up, like our backyard backs up to a very busy street. It's a 6-lane divided, 45 mile an hour main thoroughfare of this part of town. And I've discovered over, we just moved in a couple days ago, and I've discovered since then that apparently it's also a major artery for emergency vehicles. So a fair share of sirens and then just the roar of traffic. It's kind of late at night here. It's a Sunday night. It's maybe, I don't know, 9 o'clock or 9:30 or something. So traffic's kind of slow outside, so you can't really hear it. Also, I'm recording just through camera audio here. I haven't got my microphones unpacked and all that stuff, so sorry for the crappy audio quality. But the street noise is gonna be a problem. All of us want to just crawl into our studio and just have peace and quiet and do our thing. We're using sensitive microphones and they pick up everything that happens outside, right? So that's going to be a challenge to overcome. Also, my the desk failure, it has kind of stopped me in my tracks because I've got to fix that before I can do anything else. And the desk with both of its sidecars in place is just wide enough to interfere with the closet door over there. Not exactly sure how I'm going to manage that, but maybe once the desk is scooted all the way back. I've got it distance from the wall because I think that I am going to hang my soffit traps. I think I'm going to just hang them up on the top corner of the wall up here provide a little bit of absorption there. My tri-traps over here, I think I'm going to do the same thing that I did in the old room, and for now just you know, hang these up in the high corners up here. I think long term, once I save up the money, I'll buy some more of a custom size. In my first studio, I had the soffit traps just sitting on the floor, and then I had the tri-traps sitting on top of those. That took up a lot of, you know, kind of a big footprint. In that room, I had the room to spare. Like technically I could do the same thing in here, except the walls are shorter than they were in my first studio, so like by like a half an inch or less than a half an inch, I can't stack those. So, you know, so this wall is just the natural spot for the desk. The decision point there is because this is the short dimension of the room, and this is the long dimension of the room. And so you always want your speakers firing down the long dimension of the room if you can at all help it. And it's, you know, it's a relatively symmetrical room. You know, we've got this kind of crazy cutout for the door over here. So, you know, we got a few feet of little cavity over here, but I think that's okay. We've got some irregularities. We got, you know, these goofy protrusions from the ceiling and, you know, this thing over here, but again, that's okay. We got a window over here, which is and always will be a highly reflective surface. Again, whatever. It's not ideal, but okay, I can deal with it. Then we got this goofy little thing over here in the wall that's an irregularity. They must have had to go around a pipe or, you know, a vent, a duct or something. So that's another irregularity. But so between this goofy thing and the closet door, that's really going to define where I can put my left and right first reflection absorbers. So I'm sure that once I get the desk backed up to the wall and sit in my mix position, which will be, you know, about right here or so, and then have my lovely assistant wife help me with the mirror trick. And if you don't know what the mirror trick, I'm sure we can talk about that in a future episode. But it's just a way to help determine where you're gonna put your absorption, your first reflection points. So I have a feeling that the ideal placement of my left and rights are gonna be about, you know, somewhere where that door needs to open. So I think I'm gonna be forced to stick that on a door, and then I can stick this one, you know, just on this side of the goofy wall protrusion, and I may end up needing to get some other ones to, you know, stick here and you know, about where that one's sitting. I've got the monster traps back here that I'm gonna hang, and you know, that'll be another first reflection point in the rear wall. That rear wall is pretty wide, so I may need, you know, a couple more of those. Another big challenge of the room. This is a basement room, so this room kind of gets the first blast off of the HVAC system, and it is loud. Right now it's kind of chilly outside, so it's not running. It's actually like a really nice, been a nice day, nice evening, so the furnace isn't running. And let's take a look real quick right around the corner to my arch nemesis. This is where the furnace is. And that thing is a problem. When it's running, the whole house hears it, including the room next to it. So not only is there just low frequency interference from that, but also just the buffeting sound that it makes coming through, you know, these couple of vents here. That's going to be a problem. So I have to work around that. So yeah, I got my work cut out for me here. This is going to be interesting, and unfortunately it's going to be a slow process. So I think I can at least have the room up and running in a kind of minimally functional state, just so I can do what I love to do. I just want to make music. That's all I want to do. I want to make some noise and record it. And I think that at very least I can get the room in that kind of a shape, you know, here in the next couple of days. But as far as kind of, you know, bending this room to my will to, you know, having it like a, you know, a nice little project studio, it's going to take, you know, a few weeks, few months. whatever. Ideally though, let's take a look at the grand plan. So you saw kind of the basement there. Part of the deal about moving into this house was that all of this space I have free reign over. Right now, you know, you can see we got so many boxes, and so much packing paper. But I'm not exactly sure if this lens can really demonstrate, like, this is a good size space. And that's the room that we were just in. And it's only about, I don't know, I guess it's a little over 1/4 of the total basement space. So the grand vision would be to demolish that room altogether. Make this all one very large room and have the run of the whole room to myself as my project studio. I would love to do that. The cost is going to be immense. Part of the project is going to have to be relocating HVAC and water heater off to a corner in its own soundproofed room, adding some storage probably along this wall, and then the rest of it to be able to soundproof it, or at least, you know, soundproof it within reason, because that is a busy street that this wall backs up to. Lots of, you know, all that emergency traffic and all that stuff. But to be able to unify this all into one big giant room, yeah, that's attractive. That's highly attractive, and also highly expensive, because I'm not a handy person. So unfortunately, I gotta pay people to do it. I think that it's within reach, but it's gonna take a lot of planning, and I hope that I have the patience and the finances to be able to do that. You know, that's kind of a dream of mine. And this house, this is kind of our long-term house. And to be able to have that in this basement will be awesome someday. But for right now, I'm a little exhausted. I'm a little discouraged. I'll fight through it. I'll be all right. And I'd like to take you all along, you know, the journey with me. But I guess we're just gonna have to do it one step at a time. So step one is to at least make this room, this smaller room, into an acceptable, you know, perfectly fine, functional home studio. And the long-term goal is to have, you know, dreamland. So I hope that it all works out how I'm envisioning it, but you never know. All right, I'm gonna stop jabbering here and hang it up this time, and I guess I'll see you guys next time.